Have you ever looked at someone who seems to have it all and wondered, how do they do it? Maybe you've seen people who always get what they want, or who seem to live charmed lives. Well, what if I told you there's a secret behind their success? It's not luck and it's not magic, though it might feel like it when you see how it works. The secret is something called Neville Goddard's manifestation technique, and it's all about the power of your own mind. Imagine being able to shape your reality just by changing the way you think. Sounds too good to be true, right? But that's exactly what Neville Goddard taught, and countless people have used his ideas to transform their lives. Whether you want more money, better relationships, or just a happier life overall, Goddard's techniques might be the key you've been looking for. But here's the thing, this isn't about wishing on stars or crossing your fingers. It's about understanding how your mind works and using that knowledge to your advantage. It's about realizing that the thoughts you think and the feelings you feel have a real impact on the world around you. And once you understand that, you can start to make incredible changes in your life. Now, you might have heard of the law of attraction before. It's this idea that positive thoughts bring positive results and negative thoughts bring negative results. But Neville Goddard took this concept even further. He didn't just say that our thoughts influence our reality. He said they create our reality. Think about it like this. Have you ever been in a bad mood and suddenly everything seems to go wrong? You spill your coffee, you miss the bus, you argue with a friend. It feels like the whole world is against you. But then, on days when you're feeling great, everything seems to fall into place. You find money in your pocket you forgot about. You get a compliment from a stranger. You ace that presentation at work. Is it just coincidence? Or is there something more going on? Goddard would say it's not coincidence at all. He believed that our inner world, our thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, shapes our outer world. It's like we're all walking around with our own personal movie projector, casting our inner reality onto the screen of the world around us. And the really exciting part, once you understand this, you can start to change the movie. But don't worry if this all sounds a bit complicated or out there. We're going to break it down into simple, easy-to-understand ideas that you can start using right away. You don't need any special skills or knowledge, just an open mind and a willingness to try something new. Before we dive deeper into these ideas, let's talk a bit about the man who came up with them. Neville Goddard wasn't some guru living on a mountaintop or a scientist in a lab coat. He was just a regular guy who stumbled upon some extraordinary ideas. Neville Goddard was born in 1905 in Barbados. He came to the United States as a young man to study theater, but his life took an unexpected turn when he discovered metaphysics and spirituality. Now, don't let those big words scare you off. At its heart, what Goddard discovered was a simple but powerful idea about how our minds work. Goddard spent years studying different spiritual and philosophical teachings, but he wasn't satisfied with just reading about these ideas. He wanted to test them out in the real world, and that's exactly what he did. He used these techniques in his own life and saw amazing results. Then he started teaching others, giving lectures and writing books to share what he had learned. What made Goddard different from a lot of other teachers was that he kept things practical. He wasn't interested in complicated theories or rituals. He wanted to give people tools they could use in their everyday lives to make real, tangible changes. And that's exactly what we're going to explore in this video. So what exactly did Neville Goddard teach? At its heart, his message was simple. Your imagination creates reality. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Come on, that's not true. I can imagine being a millionaire all day long, but that doesn't make money appear in my bank account. And you're right, it's not quite that simple. But stick with me, because there's more to it than that. Goddard believed that everything in the physical world starts as an idea in someone's mind. Think about it. Every invention, every building, every piece of art started as a thought in someone's head before it became real. But Goddard took this idea even further. He said that this doesn't just apply to things we create with our hands, but to everything in our lives, our relationships, our jobs, our health, our happiness. He taught that if you can create a vivid mental image of what you want and really feel as if it's already true, you can make it happen in the real world. It's like planting a seed in your mind. If you nurture that seed with your thoughts and feelings, it will eventually grow into reality. Now, I know this might sound a bit out there. You might be thinking, that's not how the world works. You can't just think something and make it happen. And you're right to be skeptical. After all, we've all wished for things that didn't come true. But Goddard's techniques go beyond just wishing or positive thinking. They involve a deep understanding of how our minds work and how we can use that knowledge to our advantage. Throughout this video, we're going to explore Goddard's ideas in more depth. We'll look at specific techniques you can use, common misunderstandings to avoid, and real-life examples of people who have used these methods to change their lives. Whether you're a complete beginner to these ideas, or you've dabbled in manifestation techniques before, I promise you'll find something valuable here. Remember, the goal isn't to convince you to believe anything, it's to give you tools you can try out for yourself. Because at the end of the day, the best way to understand Goddard's teachings is to put them into practice and see what happens in your own life. So keep an open mind, and let's dive deeper into the fascinating world of Neville Goddard's manifestation mastery. The imagination technique. One of the most powerful tools in Neville Goddard's teachings is what we'll call the imagination technique. This is at the heart of his approach to manifestation, and it's simpler than you might think. The basic idea is this: instead of just thinking about what you want, you need to imagine it as if it's already happened. Now, this isn't just daydreaming or wishful thinking. Goddard taught that you need to use all your senses to create a vivid, realistic scene in your mind. Let's say you want a new job. Instead of just thinking, I want a new job, you would imagine yourself already in that new job. What does your office look like? What are you wearing? How does it feel to sit at your new desk? Can you hear the sounds of your new workplace? The key here is to make it as real as possible in your mind. Goddard believed that your subconscious mind can't tell the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. So when you create these scenes in your mind, your subconscious starts to believe that it's real. And once your subconscious believes something, it starts to work on making it a reality. But here's the really important part. It's not just about seeing the scene in your mind. You need to feel the emotions you would feel if it were really happening. If you got that new job, how would you feel? Excited? Proud? Relieved? Whatever those emotions are, you need to feel them as you imagine the scene. This emotional component is crucial because it's what gives power to your thoughts. Goddard recommended doing this exercise right before you go to sleep at night. He believed that in this drowsy state, your conscious mind is less active, making it easier for these imagined scenes to sink into your subconscious. But you can really do it anytime you have a few quiet moments to yourself. Another key concept in Goddard's teachings is what he called living in the end. This goes hand in hand with the imagination technique, but it takes things a step further. Instead of just imagining what you want for a few minutes each day, living in the end means carrying that feeling with you throughout your day. Here's how it works. Once you've imagined your desire as if it's already happened, you need to live your day-to-day life as if it's already true. Let's go back to the new job example. If you had that amazing new job, how would you walk? How would you talk to people? How would you feel when you wake up in the morning? The idea is to embody the person you would be if your desire had already come true. This doesn't mean you need to quit your current job or start telling everyone about a job you don't actually have yet. It's more about your internal state, your confidence, your attitude, your expectations. Goddard taught that when you live in the end like this, you start to naturally take actions that align with your desire. You might find yourself dressing a little sharper, speaking more confidently in meetings, or noticing job opportunities you might have missed before. It's like you're tuning yourself to the frequency of your desire, making it more likely to come into your life. This can feel strange at first. After all, you're acting as if something is true when your current reality says it isn't. But remember, according to Goddard, your imagination is creating your reality. So by living as if your desire is already true, you're helping to bring it into being. Now, as with any powerful idea, there are some common misunderstandings about Goddard's teachings that we need to clear up. The first is that this is all about positive thinking. While positive thinking can be helpful, Goddard's techniques go much deeper than that. It's not just about thinking positive thoughts, it's about feeling and embodying the reality you want to create. Another misunderstanding is that this is some kind of magical process where you just think about what you want and it appears. That's not how it works. Goddard's techniques are powerful, but they're not a substitute for action. You still need to take steps towards your goals. The difference is that when you use these techniques, you'll find yourself naturally inspired to take the right actions, and you'll be more attuned to opportunities when they arise. Some people also think that if they can't visualize clearly, they can't use these techniques. But Goddard emphasized that it's the feeling that's most important. If you can't see clear pictures in your mind, that's okay. Focus on the feeling of having what you want. How would it feel to have achieved your goal? That feeling is what's most important. Another common mistake is getting too caught up in the how. People often want to know exactly how their desire will come about. But Goddard taught that it's not our job to figure out the how. Our job is to focus on the end result we want and to trust that the way will reveal itself. This can be challenging, especially for those of us who like to plan everything out. But learning to let go of the how can actually open us up to possibilities we might never have considered. Lastly, some people get discouraged if they don't see results right away. But manifestation isn't always instant. Sometimes things happen quickly, and sometimes it takes time. The key is to persist in your imaginal acts and in living as if your desire is already true, even if you don't see immediate results in your physical reality. Understanding these common misunderstandings can help you approach Goddard's techniques with a clearer mind and avoid some of the pitfalls that people often encounter. Remember, this is a practice. Like any skill, it takes time and patience to master. But with persistence and an open mind, you might be surprised at what you can achieve. A real-life success story. To really understand how Goddard's techniques can work, let's look at a real-life example. Meet Sarah, a woman in her mid-30s who had always dreamed of owning her own business. She had a great idea for a unique online store, but she was stuck in a corporate job she didn't love, and she was afraid to take the leap. Sarah came across Neville Goddard's teachings and decided to give them a try. She started by using the imagination technique. Every night before bed, she would close her eyes and imagine herself in her own office, running her successful online business. She imagined the feeling of satisfaction as she checked her growing sales numbers, the excitement of planning new product lines, and the joy of having the freedom to set her own schedule. But Sarah didn't stop there. She also started living in the end. Even though she was still at her corporate job, she began to carry herself with the confidence of a successful business owner. She started dressing a little sharper, speaking up more in meetings, and taking on extra projects that would give her skills she'd need for her own business. At first, nothing seemed to change in Sarah's external reality, but she kept at it, doing her imaginal exercises every night and maintaining that feeling of being a business owner throughout her days. After a few weeks, she noticed she was feeling more confident and energized. Then, opportunities started to appear. A friend introduced her to someone who had experience in e-commerce and was willing to give her advice. She came across a free online course about starting a business that gave her valuable insights. And then, in a move that surprised even her, she found herself volunteering to lead a big project at work, something she would have been too intimidated to do before. 6 months after starting her Goddard practice, Sarah felt ready. She had saved some money, gained valuable skills, and built a network of supportive people. She took the leap and started her online business. It wasn't always easy, but Sarah found that she had a reservoir of confidence and resilience that she hadn't had before. Today, 2 years later, Sarah's business is thriving. She often looks back and marvels at how different her life is now compared to when she started her Goddard practice. She's quick to point out that it wasn't magic. She worked hard and faced challenges along the way. But she credits Goddard's techniques with giving her the confidence and mindset she needed to pursue her dream. Now that we've explored Goddard's ideas and seen how they can work in real life, you might be wondering how to start applying these techniques in your own life. Here's a simple guide to get you started. Choose your desire. Start with something you really want. It could be big or small, but make sure it's something that truly excites you. Remember, the emotion is a key part of this process. Create your scene. Using the imagination technique, create a short, vivid scene that implies your desire has already been fulfilled. Make it as real as possible using all your senses. What do you see? Hear, feel, smell, taste? Feel it real. As you imagine your scene, focus on the feeling of your desire being fulfilled. How does it feel to have what you want? Let that feeling fill your body. Practice regularly. Do your imaginal scene every day, preferably right before sleep. Goddard recommended doing this for at least a few minutes each night. Live in the end. During your day, carry the feeling of your desire being fulfilled with you. How would you act if your desire was already true? Embody that version of yourself as much as possible. Let go of the how. Trust that if you can imagine it, it can happen. Don't worry about how it will come about. Your job is to focus on the end result. Take inspired action. While you're not forcing things to happen, be open to taking actions that align with your desire. You might find yourself naturally inspired to do things that bring you closer to your goal. Be patient and persistent. Remember, manifestation isn't always instant. Keep up your practice even if you don't see immediate results in your physical reality. Stay open. Sometimes things might manifest in unexpected ways. Stay open to possibilities and opportunities that you might not have considered before. Enjoy the process. This isn't just about getting what you want. It's about enjoying the journey of becoming the person who has what you want. Have fun with it. Remember, this is a practice. Like any skill, it takes time to master. Be patient with yourself and don't get discouraged if things don't change overnight. The key is to persist in your practice and to maintain that feeling of your desire being fulfilled. We've covered a lot of ground in exploring Neville Goddard's manifestation techniques, from understanding the power of our imagination to learning how to live in the end. These ideas offer a unique approach to creating the life we desire. We've seen how these techniques worked for Sarah, transforming her from a dissatisfied employee to a successful business owner. The core of Goddard's teaching is simple yet profound. Your imagination creates your reality. By learning to use your imagination deliberately and combining it with the feeling of your desires being fulfilled, you can start to shape your life in amazing ways. But remember, this isn't about magical thinking or avoiding reality. It's about understanding the power of your mind and using it to your advantage. It's about aligning your thoughts, feelings, and actions with the life you want to create. As you start to apply these techniques in your own life, be patient with yourself. This is a skill that takes practice to develop. You might see results quickly in some areas, while other things might take more time. The key is to persist in your practice and to maintain your faith in the process. Goddard's techniques offer a way to tap into the incredible power of your own mind. They invite you to dream big, to imagine the life you truly want, and to start living as if that life is already yours. Whether you're looking to advance in your career, improve your relationships, or simply live a more fulfilling life, these techniques can be powerful tools on your journey. So why not give it a try? Choose something you want to manifest, create your scene, and start living as if it's already true. You might be surprised at what you can achieve when you unlock the power of your imagination. Remember, in Goddard's words, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Your future self might thank you for taking this step today.